Good morning. Actually, it's going to be good afternoon by the time you watch this because this show is actually a living and breathing thing. And sometimes a story is brought to me by a viewer, as Mary Beth brought me a story last week that I told her I would do. But something changed a little bit. I got a message this morning from Mary Beth that she has made a decision that kind of changes the way the story goes. And I'm also here to talk about something I saw on the Today Show today, which kind of is part of this story. The topic today is anxiety, especially anxiety in small children. And I'm talking small children. It is an epidemic in our country. Children who suffer from anxiety, not mental illness, not depression, although anxiety can lead to depression. It is anxiety, and it affects children as young as 5 years old. 5 years old. There is no wonder drug to cure it. You don't want to drug your kids up at 5 years old. This is not ADHD. This is not their brains misfiring. It is a severe and innate fear of either one thing or everything. They are afraid all the time. They're afraid to go to school. They're afraid to try new things. They're afraid to try to make new friends. It's a fear. It is not a disease, but it's very real. And sometimes parents are quick to say, well, what do you have to be afraid of? We take care of you. Your teachers are going to take care of you. Well, I'm here to say, well, yeah, sometimes. My viewer is a mother who is desperate to have her child live a normal life, a happy life. And I got to meet the child I'm going to call Panda Bear to protect her privacy, because that's what her mom called her in the message today. I did a special Political Paula show last week just for Panda Bear, because I saw her picture, her beautiful, big, smiling face. And I pulled out a picture of me when I was 8 years old, as Panda Bear is. And we looked so much alike. And the things that Panda Bear is going through, I also experienced. Okay? She's being bullied in school. I was bullied in school. And I was tortured for being fat. I was tortured because I didn't have a dad. Nobody wanted their kids to come to my house because my grandmother was crazy, and she was crazy. I was terrified to go to school because it was just another day of being tortured. For things about myself I didn't know how to change. I'm 8 years old. What, am I going to go join Weight Watchers? Am I going to go find myself a daddy? Am I going to, kick Granny under the bus? I didn't have any power. And not having any power is what gives children so much fear. That's why I so much applaud my viewer, Mary Beth, because she has done everything she can to help her child. She even started a GoFundMe account, which you can find on my Facebook page. It is a GoFundMe account to help her daughter cope, because no health insurance company, no medical provider is going to help her. Counseling may work, but insurance companies, like we said last week, don't always pay for counseling. And especially they won't pay for counseling because your child's afraid to go to school. It's a problem. Counseling is expensive, which is why I suggested last week that, we have doctors volunteering to go to foreign countries and give children free care. We have doctors bringing foreign children to this country and give them free surgeries. How about we have lawyers doing pro bono work to give back? How about we have mental health providers, psychologists, child psychologists volunteering a portion of their week to see children like Panda Bear, to see children like many of the millions of other children suffering from the same anxiety. For no price, no money. just to give back to your community. Because let's face it, psychologists and psychiatrists, they make a good living. They can afford to do a little bit of pro bono work and give back. Help children whose parents can't afford the 50-minute hour at $300 twice a week. Now, what's causing this anxiety? Well, Panda Bear, if you're watching this show, I'm going to tell you what I was afraid of. First of all, I was terrified to go to school because I was always made to feel like I was not good enough to be in their presence. And as I told you in your show, that's going to change real quick because it changed for me real quick. It actually changed for me when I got into high school and when I started writing. And some of my writings were published in not only the school newspaper, but our local newspaper. When I started taking a stand and realizing that, yes, I'm different, but guess what? It's a good thing. I have a quote for you, Panda Bear, that's very important. I hope if you don't see the show, your mom will share it with you. No one ever made a difference by being like everybody else. If we were all the same people, if we all looked alike, if we all believed the same things, if we all had the same house or the same car, life would be so boring. What would we even talk about? Except, oh yeah, I agree with you. Oh yeah, me too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I like your shirt. Oh, I like your shirt too. It's the same shirt. Difference makes us special. And that's not the way it is in school. We all know that. When I was 8 years old, I lived with my mother and my grandmother because my grandfather had died and my mother moved in. Now, I didn't know this at the time. I found out later. But I will say that anytime my grandmother got upset with me or my mom, she would tell me, an 8-year-old, that she was going to throw me and my mom out in the street. And my grandmother got upset very easily. Little things really upset her. And I couldn't go to my mom, this was a long time ago, and say, Mommy, Granny keeps saying she's going to throw us out on the street. Do you know how scary it is for an 8-year-old child to be told by the adult in the house that they could be kicked into the street and have no home? This was not a happy home. Yes, I still live in the house that my grandmother threatened to kick me and my mom out of. So obviously she didn't. But I found out later that my grandmother was blowing smoke. I wish I could have gone to my mom and had my mom tell me the truth. Your grandmother's nuts because if we leave this house, she leaves the house. Because the only reason my grandmother kept this house after her husband died was because my mother had a good job. She paid all the bills. She paid for all the food. Without me and my mom, my grandmother could not have lived in this house she loved so much. But I was threatened with that all the time. As a child, I was terrified every time my mother left the house. I was afraid something horrible was going to happen to her because I knew if something happened to my mother, my grandmother got full custody of me. And I even told my mother one time, I think I was 9, if anything happens to you and she is in charge of me, I'm killing myself. I'm running away from home. Because I knew my life would get so much worse if that crazy woman had full control over me without my mom there. And my mom didn't stand up for us much, but she did stand up. She was my refuge. So yes, Panda Bear, I was you. You are so lucky that you have a mommy who will listen to you and hear you, that you can talk to, and who has now made a really big decision. And this is why we have kind of breaking news. Mary Beth has decided to go through the K through 12. It's called cyber school, which means that now Panda Bear will be schooled at home. She will get a good education in a safe environment that her school refuses to provide for her. Now look, our kids today, any kid born after 9/11, any kid born after Columbine, and with all these school shootings, they do have real things to be afraid of. But they should never be afraid or feel unprotected by their teachers when they go to school. And yet, bullying continues to occur. It occurs in the schools. It occurs on the school bus. It occurs on social media. Children have been driven to commit suicide by fellow classmates, and the only reason that their classmates don't like them is because they're not like everybody else. These bullies, and you parents know, I'm talking to you, parents of bullies, you know your kid's a bully. And that brings me to a story I saw this morning. I am nominating this dude for Dad of the Year. His son was kicked off the school bus for bullying the kids, making the school bus miserable for his fellow classmates. He was kicked off. Now, this father didn't do what a lot of parents do. Well, you're just standing up for yourself. It's okay, son. I'll drive you to school. Oh, no, 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 no. The school's a mile away. This father recorded the punishment his son received. Real punishment for bullying his classmates. He made that kid jog to school every morning that he wasn't welcome on the school bus, and he recorded it. Now, the father followed the kid to make sure he was safe, and there were mixed reviews, but 90% of parents chimed in and said, "Good for you, Dad. Good for you. You have taught your child that he is not allowed to act like he's better than everybody else or bully his classmates or cause disruption on his school bus." And you know what? It worked. The child's behavior has turned around both in class, and he has been welcomed back on the school bus. His behavior changed. He learned a lesson. He learned that his parents were not going to support his attitude, that he's better than other people, that he can bully people he doesn't even know just because they're not like him or because somebody else is bullying them. Most bullies, this is for you kids out there who have been bullied, most bullies are so insecure themselves that the only reason they're bullying you is so they don't get bullied. Because they know there's something about them too, that if they don't kind of go along with the majority of the kids that are bullying you, it's going to be their turn next. It's a crowd response. That's what it's called. If everybody else is doing it, I'm going to do it too. Otherwise, what I'm doing could get done to me. Bullies are cowards. They're cowards. They have low self-esteem themselves. They are afraid that if they don't act out against you, that someone's going to find out that they're not like everybody else either. That's the truth. I love this dad. And I will say this. Mary Beth was concerned. She wrote this on public Facebook, so I have no problem sharing it, that people were going to be upset with her for deciding to homeschool her child. I say good for you, because you know what? If the school district your child goes to school in refuses, knowing that your child is being tortured by their classmates, and they refuse to step in and do something about it, if the parents of the children that are torturing your beautiful child, just because she's a little different than them, if they refuse to do something, as a parent, it is your job to protect your child. She is in 3rd grade. She deserves to learn, to get an education as much as any of these other kids do. And the bottom line is, if the school won't step up and do something, if the parents of these cowardly bullying children refuse to discipline their children, then you have to take a stand as the parent of a tortured child, of a child that is terrified every morning they get up and have to go to school. And I will say, I know some people who have used the K through 12 cyber school system, and it's excellent. Many of these children actually learn faster, they're ahead of their grade, and they go to excellent colleges. It's a good program. And it's a safe environment. But something I do want to say to you, Mary Beth, is you still can't isolate Panda Bear. What you need to do now is work on her self-esteem, as I have tried to do by giving her her very own show and letting her know that anybody who picks on her can talk to me. She can tell them she's got a YouTube buddy, someone who is actually on YouTube, someone who used to be her, who used to be tortured in school just like her. You can tell those bullies to come on YouTube. Say something to me. Pick on someone who can fight back. Come on, bring it. Bring it, bullies, who don't think this beautiful young lady with the big bright smile is good enough to be in your crowd. Come talk to me. Talk to a 53-year-old woman who has been around the block a few times, who has dealt with people like you my entire life. And guess what? I win. I always win. Because you're the losers, you bullies out there. And if Panda Bear would like to share this show so that the bullies can see it, hey, bring it. You bring it. And to the parents of those bullies, you need to reel in your kids. Because someday, kids who are being bullied today, they kind of fight back in ways that aren't good for your kids. It doesn't end well. And I think you all know what I'm talking about. It is up to us as the adults to raise respectful children who follow the golden rule, treat others as you would like to be treated. I suggest to parents of bullies to make their child talk to and make friends with one person in their class that is being bullied, to get to know them before they just decide because everybody else is bullying them that they don't like this person. Panda Bear, as you get older, you're going to meet so many people in your life. It won't be this insular kindergarten through 12th grade thing where you're with a lot of the same kids all through school. You're going to meet so many people. And that's what your mom and people like me and others who are fighting for you want you to be healthy and pick yourself up and be proud of who you are. We want you ready for when you meet people who are like you, who agree with you, who think you're amazing, who recognize how special you are, because you will meet them out there in the world. They're there. Trust me. I know, I've done it. And you're going to feel so comfortable when you go out for coffee or for a burger with these new friends, or go to a roller skating party and all the people there are so happy to see you. It's going to happen. So you work on yourself, girl. You look in that mirror and you say what I told you to say. I is strong, I is smart, I is beautiful, and I is important. And love what you see in your mirror. And be so happy that you have a mom who loves you so much that she's fighting for you. She's got your back. And now Political Paula has your back too. So I wish you very good luck in your new school. You're going to love it. Study hard and be grateful. Tell your mama you love her every day because she loves you so much. We all love you out here. And after this show airs, you're going to get a lot of other people who love you very much and know you're going to succeed and you're going to win. And all those bullies, they're going to lose. Political Paula, out. Sharpie really dropped.